Hello and welcome to Unity in the Community. I'm Ernie Floyd on Unity 979, Worcester's Community Connection. Unity in the Community show embraces city Worcester's diverse cultural communities, the music, the arts, and healthy lifestyles. Our topic today is about mental health. We're going to talk to representatives from the SHINE Initiative, as well as Fidelity Bank, and also our education establishments here in the city of Worcester. So stay with us right here on Unity in the Community on Unity 979, Worcester's Community Connection. And welcome to Unity in the Community. I'm Ernie Floyd on Unity 979, Worcester's Community Connection. And we're talking mental health here on this particular program, and we're excited to have our guest who's going to share with us about mental health, which is Sheila King-Goodwin. She's the Senior Vice President, Chief Community Banking Officer at Fidelity Bank, as well as Sharice Murphy. I would say she's the Interim Executive Director, but I'm going to say she's the Executive Director of the SHINE Initiative, and we're going to be talking mental health. We're going to be talking about the financial industry and how it all came together. And Sheila, I'm going to start with you. Welcome to Unity in the Community.
Thank you, Ernie.
Thank you for being here. So before we get into your position at Fidelity Bank,
Sure.
Okay, let's talk about you as an individual and how education played a role in your life and your aspirations of getting into the financial industry.
Oh, sure. I started off at the University of South Carolina, go Gamecocks. And upon graduating, I really wanted to take a role that made a difference. And so I started off in a management training program. Most people don't graduate from college and say, I want to work at a bank. But I've been in the financial services industry for 30 years. And there are not a lot of people that look like me. But I have really made a difference to make sure that in the community we're able to give back. And that's something that I love to do. With my undergraduate degree, I was encouraged to get my master's degree, so I graduated from Assumption College. And so that really just took my career to the next level. I kept being promoted, and now I'm the Senior Vice President of Community Banking, which really oversees all of our banking centers, our call center, and our investment team. So really anything that touches the consumer, a business client, my colleagues are able to make a difference in the community. So it's really great work. I love being here. I love seeing the students. And I hope that they get something back just as much as I'm feeling the energy from them as well.
Yeah, our audience is made up of youth from Ewing as well as University Park Campus School, and we're glad that they're here. You guys are here? And speaking of youth, before I talk to Sharice, you know and I know that a number of people make multiple decisions when it comes to changing their mind. Multiple different times, but you just said you stuck with something. That's what you really wanted to do. For our young audience here as well, they might change their mind along their way during their journey. But what made you stick with your focus and your goal and what you want to do going down the financial pathway?
Well, what made the difference for me was I found a career that I loved. And what you want to do is you want to love going into work every day. And I saw the difference that I made when you give someone their first mortgage, and it opens up the door to them and their families. You give someone their first business loan, and they're able to become young entrepreneurs. That's something that I had a passion for, and I didn't always have that passion. I actually went to undergrad to be an attorney, and then I soon realized that that was not me. So my first role as a management trainee really made the difference for me, and I stuck with it, and I was able to really increase my career over time, and I'm so glad that my 34 years in banking has paid off. So if I were to give anyone any advice, any of the students, find something that you love to do. When you go into work, you know you're making a difference. It's something that you get a passion for. You wake up and you say, okay, what do I have going on today? And that's what I found, and it has been an awesome career for me.
Yeah, good for you. And speaking of making a difference, Sharice Murphy, Executive Director of the SHINE Initiative, is joining us as well. And it comes to the SHINE Initiative. For those who may not know what the SHINE Initiative is, what is the SHINE Initiative in association with Fidelity Bank?
First of all, thank you, Ernie, for having me in this opportunity. I really am pleased to have a chance to speak about the SHINE Initiative and the importance that the role we play. That was so good. You guys can clap, I guess. So the SHINE Initiative is an organization, youth-based mental health organization, and our main mission, just to make it really simple, is to reduce stigma around mental health in youth and young adults. And we do that through easy communication, welcoming communication, and education to both students, faculty, staff, and their parents and caregivers.
When it comes to mental health, it's a critical issue, yet often overlooked. But for some reason, something motivated Fidelity Bank to look into this over a number of years ago, 19 years to be exact. And why was that?
Yeah, back in 2004, the bank and the board of directors really wanted to understand how we can direct our time, talent, and dollars in an area where we could make a difference. And we were giving out, 200, 300, 400,000 to 200, 300 organizations. Mm-hmm. But they really wanted to be more tailored to say, where can we put half of our funds towards something that really can make a difference? And when people started talking about mental health and the stigma around mental health awareness, the bank really felt passionate that this is where we thought that we could make a difference. And so back in 2004, we made that decision, and half of our financial resources for probably 10 or 15 years went towards really helping Shine get started. We still have folks on their board. We're really passionate about it. And we think from a youth perspective, removing the stigma is only going to affect the next generation. And in my generation, we really didn't talk about it. Mm-hmm. And so we're hoping to encourage that conversation because it's only going to help the community.
Yeah, and Cherise, we have a young audience here, made up of students from various different schools here in the city of Worcester. And tell us about the program, the initiatives, and how the Shine Initiative is made up of from the top to the bottom, whole overall organization blueprint.
Sure. First, I want to speak to Sheila's point around Fidelity Bank kind of being really, they really were ahead of the curve. 19 or 20 years ago, we weren't talking about mental health in schools and community the way we are now. And so to show that investment and to see it kind of carry on and grow, really Fidelity Bank was at kind of the forefront of that. So the Shine Initiative, we're a small but mighty organization. There's only 5 of us. But what we do mainly is go out into schools all over Worcester County. We started in the north, so Leominster and Fitchburg area. Primarily, that's where the bank was, that's where the home bank was, or still is, headquarters there. And so that's where our first schools were. And what we did was go into schools and talk to staff and faculty around things like mental health literacy, self-care and awareness, suicide prevention, the signs of suicide, and how to identify those. And so what we do really is train both the staff and the faculty that are there, as well as the young people. After then they are trained, the hope is that young people carry on that mission within their own school community and create things like Mind Matters teams. And we do have a school in the audience who's one of the best schools that we have in Worcester right now. Sorry, I know you guys, woohoo, yeah, and do a really good job with one of our teams. So that's really what we do. We work on just overall education and communication.
Yeah. Well, you're listening to Unity in the Community. I'm Ernie Flood on UT 979. And joining us is Sheila King-Goodwin. She's the Senior Vice President, as well as the Chief Community Banking Officer at Fidelity Bank, as well as Cherise Murphy. She's the Executive Director of the Shine Initiative, and we're talking about mental health and talking about how the importance of mental health is affecting our young people as well as each member of our family. Now, you mentioned earlier that Fidelity Bank was ahead of the curve, and how welcoming is it now that when you go out and visit those communities and you visit those youth, you come in and you're able to make a difference, Cherise, going back to you.
Yeah. I feel like as adults, and of a certain age, I can do that too, I guess, for myself, it's really us. The young people talk a lot more than we do. They talk to each other, they talk to their peers. Hopefully some of them talk to their parents or a trusted adult in the community. And so we know we're making a difference when we see the youth able to have these conversations with each other and then really teach us on how to have those conversations around language, safe messaging. It's really important. As much as we are out doing the work in the community, the young people give us a lot back.
Yeah. Do you have a success story, by the way, in particular, that's something that kind of stands out? Because you must have a lot of them, but one in particular that you can share with us?
Yeah, I do. So I shared this last night with a group of funders. There is a school in the Worcester community that really has a fantastic Mind Matters team. And so I remember going to the school for the first time, and we were actually accompanied by some folks who were funding us. And the school has such a beautiful energy. And by the time we got down past their cafeteria and into where they have their groups, there was a group of young people that were in a circle. And I'm not a huge crier, but I was starting to tear up just with how passionate they were about the work they were doing in their school community. And the purpose of the meeting was really to change their school community, but what it really did is trickle out to the outside of the school doors. And so it's not a success story about one young person who says, you made a difference in my life, but it's really about a group of young people who every single day live the mission of Shine without us needing to be in the building all the time with them.
Yeah, I know that it must be really emotional for you, especially when our young people usually keep things to themselves. They're usually kind of quiet, but now that through the training, our adults are able to see those signs and able to intervene and get in there and hopefully try to support them as they go going forward. Sheila, going back to you being the Chief Community Banking Officer, you oversee all the banks, you do all the good community stuff, and also congratulations to you as well. There's a number of awards that you've won, being recognized by Sheila as well. And there's so many of them, but it meets and exceeds what you're talking about when it comes to the community and comes to Fidelity Bank. And I want to congratulate you on that and continue to do that, because we want people, such as our artists, want people to look like us. Per se, like that, and it makes a difference. And so, tell us what that means to you when people recognize you. And I know you're not doing it for the awards, okay, by any means. But then when you have your peers recognize you for the nature of the different things, you're a powerful Black woman right here in the city of Worcester, and you're doing some other big things as well. What does that mean for you?
Well, for me, it is. I like working with the youth, and I always say I have two young men. They're 26 and 30. I never had daughters, so I'm always thinking about. And I want people to see me and see Sharice and say, hey, I can be the Chief Community Banking Officer at Fidelity. I can be the President of Fidelity. I know someone who's done that. So in terms of all of the accolades, it doesn't mean anything unless someone can see themselves in me. And because I didn't see that person when I was in college, I just took a chance. And every time I took a chance and another chance, and then it paid off. So if I could say anything, just making sure that folks see me and they see, hey, I can be that person. I can do that. I can go even above and beyond. And that's what I want for students.
And she's going back to you. You've been able to support a number of different families here in the city of Worcester, and you go to a number of different schools. How many schools would you say throughout Central Mass do you visit, and do you also support as far as schools goes and families as well?
Yeah, so we currently are in active schools, about 40 to 45 schools. However, with a grant that we received through the City of Worcester, through ARPA funds, thank you, we are able to be in every middle and high school in the City of Worcester. And so we just started that. We were able to hire a new program associate. And so hopefully, so not the only school that I've been given some props to, but hopefully other Worcester schools in the area will be able to be in your schools as well. So I think that number will easily shoot up to around 60 schools by the end of next year.
Well, good for you. Congratulations. Joining us is Sheila King-Goodwin. She's a Senior Vice President and Chief Community Banking Officer at Fidelity Bank, as well as Sharice Murphy, Executive Director of the Shine Initiative. I'm Ernie Floyd. You listen to Unity in the Community right here on Unity 979. And as we finish up our conversation, you're going to come back. We're going to talk a little bit more. But meanwhile, before we go, Sheila, going back to you, what should we look forward to? What would you like to see in the future for our young people here in the city of Worcester?
What I would love to see, and it is happening. I see such vibrant faces. I see kids doing great things. I want to learn from them. I want to ride around and say, oh, yes, I know that person. I knew them when they came to the Unity Community radio show. So I'm hoping that our kids will do better. And, when you know better, you do better. And I want them to go to higher heights.
Yeah. And Sharice, yourself as well?
Yeah, I think what I want to do is to really hopefully shed a light, similarly to what you were talking about, Sheila, around young people of color, young people in marginalized situations, and in cities like Worcester, to know that it's okay to talk about mental health and ensure that our programming is inclusive. And so I just want to give young people hope. I was young, even though you may not think so, but I was young as a young person. I remember, and I really do wish that I saw people like Sheila and myself as a reflection of who I am as a Black woman.
Yeah, there you go. We're having this discussion about mental health, a special edition of Unity in the Community. I'm Ernie Floyd on Unity 979. We have our studio audience, UPC, University Park Campus School is joining us, our young people, as well as U-Inc. organizations joining us. We'd like to thank them for joining us in our studio audience. But we're going to come back, we're going to talk some more on Unity in the Community. Once again, Sheila King-Goodwin, Senior Vice President, Chief Community Banking Officer at Fidelity Bank, as well as Sharice Murphy, Executive Director of Shine Initiative. So we're going to come right back here on Unity in the Community on Unity 979, Worcester's Community Connection. And welcome back to Unity in the Community. I'm Ernie Floyd. Unity in the Community show embraces the city of Worcester's diverse cultural communities, the music, the arts, and healthy lifestyles. In this portion of Unity in the Community, we're going to be talking about sports as we address mental health. Jordan LaValle Smotherman is joining us, and he's the head coach of the general manager of the Worcester Railers, as well as Zach White. He's a forward number 5 of the Worcester Railers. And we'd like to welcome to Unity in the Community, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you guys so much for having us.
Zach, during your journey when involving your personal experience regarding mental health, can you share with us as an athlete your experience in reference to that, whether it's you personally or your family or just in general with your friends?
Yeah, I think that a lot of people go through mental health issues, I'd say. Not a lot of people like to communicate with it, so you never really know who has it and who doesn't, but I feel as though a lot of people always kind of struggle with their own type of mental health issues and stuff like that. So I think trying to do this and spread awareness here is really good for all ages, even from young kids to adults. So.
Yeah. And also as a coach, how has your understanding or approach of mental health has changed? Whereas you're in charge of the whole unit now, whereas he is, as an individual, he's just almost responsible just for himself, but also maybe associated with the relationship with others. But you have to see the whole perspective, and you have to recognize certain things. And how's that play with you?
I mean, as a coaching staff, it's a massive piece of what we do. A lot of people look at us and they think that we coach sports. It's all X's and O's. Especially with the generations today, it's a lot more about coaching the person. And so for us, being able to talk with our players and be open with our players about their mental health status and how they're feeling, what's going on in their lives is equally as important as showing them some video of the game. If we don't know what's going on in the background, we might just think they're having a bad game, they're having a bad night, when really there's something else going on in their lives that we might be able to help them with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Going back to you, Zach, I know that there's a number of players, or people in general, they may go into something for whatever reason. And I really highly commend those who go into something and then they're able to take themselves out of it. You probably had that experience as well. And how have you been able to turn things around? Whereas you may have these days where you just don't feel like getting up. These days you just don't feel like going to practice. You may have a game where something just suddenly just comes upon you. And like I said, most of us may just stay there and don't want to deal with anything. But then others are able to have that inner strength to come up and come out and able to turn it around.
Right, yeah. I think for me personally, like I've been through a good amount of mental health stuff, but being able to come to a program where they're able to approach you and have the capability to talk to them about things that are going on in your life personally and not just hockey is also beneficial. I know we've had conversations about it this year, some stuff that has gone on, and I think that was like my first step after 22 years of kind of going through a lot. Now being able to use the coaching staff as a resource instead of kind of like being scared what they're going to think about how you're feeling and all that stuff. I think it's really beneficial as an athlete, and I'm sure as a coach he appreciates me willing to give him information about what's going on in my life as well. So
yeah, it's pretty interesting that he just say that because usually us as males, we don't want to talk about anything. We don't want to share anything because that shows a sign of weakness. Plus the fact that he's an athlete and he wants to compete, and obviously you as a coach, you want strong team members, and they want to go out there and compete, and you don't want any of the weakest link, if you will, be out there. So what systems have been put in place for the Worcester Railers in particular? The Railers have been here in the city of Worcester for a while, and of course mental health has changed since then and now, and you have to be prepared for these different things because you never know what type of player you may be inheriting coming onto the team.
Yeah, I mean, for us, like I said, we're people first coaches. And we went into the year, myself and the rest of our staff, understanding that we're not just coaching hockey players, we're coaching people first. And everybody is going to go through things in life, and everybody's going to have things going on in life that is going to affect everything that they're going to do around the workplace, everything they're going to do at home. So for us going into the year, we wanted to foster a very open environment. And we do it through every aspect of the game. So when we do video sessions, it's not just us lecturing them and telling them what they need to do. It's about getting them involved and having them give us the answers. That way they learn more efficiently, but they also feel comfortable in those situations, being able to call out an answer. They feel like they're in a locker room of love, and it's funny to say that in sports, but I tell these guys every day in the locker room that myself and my assistant coach, we love these guys, and it's why we put all the effort into them that we expect them to give back to us. And the more comfortable and safe that they feel in that environment, the better they're going to perform.
Yeah. Once again, this is Unity in the Community. I'm Ernie Floyd on Unity 979, Worcester's Community Connection. Joining us is the head coach of the general manager of the Worcester Railers, which is Jordan LaValle of Smotherman, and also Zach White, who's number 5, who's a forward there as well. On the light side of things, as you see, we have a little studio audience here, and at one time you were probably attending a camp, hockey camp, and where you had people come in and try to inspire you, and they give them their stories. Okay. now that you're playing, okay, now you're going out into the community because the Worcester Railers is really highly and very visible in the community, going out to the schools. Now you're on the other side. What does that mean to you, going out to share your experience and talking to other kids here in the community, and how to, what you'd like to share with them and encouraging them?
Yeah, I mean, I know Coach knows I love doing stuff in the community. Like, we started doing stuff with CASA over the summer that I was kind of looking to get into. Also, we had the kids game yesterday, which I'm sure everyone would love to be a part of. But I think, if anything, just like stay positive. Like, things are going to happen in life. It's about how you get over it, not taking any steps back, always trying to move forward. I think that's the perspective that I've tried to take. And you're not alone. Like, there's always people there to help you. There's always a lot of resources. So at any age, no matter how small you are or how tall you are. So
is that toward me?
no.
I'm 6'9". Okay. So
I'm 5'7".
Well, Coach, goes for you too as well. On the lighter side too as well. You get the chance to be proud of your men. They go out there in the community, able to show what the Railers family is all about, and at the same time, go out and spread the love, as you would say. And what does that mean to you when the Railers are able to go out into the community and share? You see these young men growing up, because you was once there too. You was once a player as well. You was on the other side when someone was talking to you at a camp, encouraging you. Now you're on the other side too as well. What does that mean to you, going out into the community and overseeing this gentleman as well as the rest of the team going out into the community?
It means everything. It's part of the reason why when I was coming to the end of my playing career, I decided to come back to Worcester and be a part of this organization, because it's something that, as an organization, they pride themselves on, is being out in the community and trying to help young people get connected in very different ways. For me, I grew up in a city that had a minor professional hockey team. And some of my core childhood memories were getting to meet some of those players, seeing them at community events, seeing them come into my school. And so to be able to give that back has obviously been a pleasure of mine and a privilege to have that opportunity. We get to play a game for a living. We work 3-4 hours in the morning. It's a sport. So for us to be able to take our time like this and give it back to you guys and just meet a bunch of different people, it's awesome. It's so much fun.
Yeah. You've had a number of different organizations, hockey in particular, come through and have set up camp, so to speak, here in the city of Worcester. And a number of them have come here, they've played, and they've practiced here as well. But it seems as though the Worcester Railers have really made a commitment here. You have a huge facility over in the Canal District, thanks to Fidelity Bank and their investments in investing into the Worcester Railers. Tell us about that facility that's over there, what it means there, and also it's also open and addressed to the public, and you have a number of different restaurants over there as well. What does that mean as far as your commitment to the city of Worcester?
I mean, it's huge. Just starting from day one, our ownership in Cliff Rucker has been heavily invested in the development of Worcester and the betterment of Worcester as a whole. And so putting that ice center in there, our Skate to Success program that we have there that really introduces the game of hockey as an opportunity to a lot of kids and students that might otherwise never see an ice rink in the city of Worcester, I think is a phenomenal program. And the amount of kids they've had go through there in the 5 years we've been an organization, the closeness of the community to the team, and the fact that both of our facilities are downtown, they're both beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities, really allows us to do wonderful things.
Mm-hmm. And what's it mean for you, Zach? You've been through a number of different organizations and programs, and of course, one facility make a difference from another facility. You say, well, I'm here at this organization, but this facility may not be up to the par for other facilities. But how would you rate this facility, and also the uniqueness and the closeness of the community and the commitment that Railers have made not only to you, but also to the city?
Yeah, I think it's awesome. Like, I've played, like you said, in a few different spots. This kind of feels like home for me, being in Connecticut. That's where I live. So anything that I think that we do for this community also benefits for the surrounding areas as well, not just in Worcester, which I think is important for our team as well. We do a lot of stuff for all age groups and all types of people all around the state and the country, I'm sure. Like, they see all the stuff that we do. So I think it benefits not just Worcester, but everywhere else as well.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. There's a lot of people that come in to the city of Worcester from all around the country, and I noticed that a number of people visit the facility over there, and there's a number of different organizations, thanks to AAU, of course, get a chance to expand and have a facility the way you guys have it over there. Once again, this is Ernie Floyd. You listen to Unity Radio 97.9 FM, Worcester's Community Connection. Jordan Lavelli, Smotherman, he's the head coach and general manager of the Worcester Railers, along with Zach White. He's the forward number 5 for the Worcester Railers. And before we go, What's the future for the Worcester Railers here? We know that you're committed to the community. You have the nice facility. Obviously, you're playing in a major facility, which is the DCU Center. You made a recent commitment to stay here a little bit longer, like that. So, but overall, what would you like to see? I'll start with you, Zach. What would you like to see with the organization for your time here? And actually, what's your future goals? Because you don't want to stay here forever. You want to move to the next level, right?
Yeah, of course. But I mean, coming from where I've come from, this is like my NHL for me. So any way I can impact this community, I think Jordan knows as well. I'm going to do that. I think as a team, our goal is obviously to win a championship. And every day he gives us the opportunity to do that. So, and obviously having good fans and young kids around to help support us always helps for sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and Jordan, what do you think going forward? What would you like to see? Matter of fact, how long have you been coach, by the way?
This is my second year.
Second year.
Second year.
Right.
So I finished my final year of my career playing,
Mm-hmm.
and this is my second year coaching. For me, I, as a coach especially, but I want to deliver a winner.
Mm-hmm.
I think Worcester is a city on a tremendous uphill trajectory right now, and I think bringing a championship to a city like this would be incredible. And we certainly have amazing support everywhere we go in this town. And so, I encourage these guys. Was one of the first things I said at the beginning of the year, our first meeting we had, is this community supports us tremendously, and that we need to match that support with the effort we give them on the ice. And for me, anything short of a championship would not be doing them justice.
Yeah. And I'm going to put you on the spot, both these guys on the spot. For instance, you played in a number of different programs. Each program has a certain philosophy, if you will. All right. Being that you've been under Jordan Smotherman, your head coach here, general manager as well as Worcester Railers, what is his philosophy, would you say? And does that meet or match what?
That is putting me on the spot. No, I think personally, hands down, one of the best coaches I've had, and I've told him this too. He's approachable. I'm able to talk to him about anything and everything. And I think that's important for not just me, but our team and the community as well. It's like he's an approachable guy, and he's trying to learn as well how he could be better, just like we are too. We want to get to that next level. We actually talked about it today, about getting to the next level, how we're capable of doing that. And I think he and the assistant coach, Bob, they do a great job of trying to build us up and not try to break us down.
So are you able to convey that philosophy, and if everyone's bought into it, as they would say?
I can hope, right? But what we do our best every day to make sure that those guys feel comfortable and that we're giving them the support they need as athletes and as people to be the absolute best that they can be at their job.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for joining me. Okay, Jordan Smotherman, head coach and general manager of the Worcester Railers, as well as Zach White, number 5 forward for the Worcester Railers. Thank you for joining me on Unity in the Community.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you very much. I'm Randy Floyd. Once again, you listen to Unity in the Community on Unity 979, Worcester's Community Connection. And of course, our audience is made up of UPCS as well as UInc. And we're talking about education now when it comes to mental health. And you've been an educator for a long time, okay? And you've changed multiple roles. And it seems like each role that you've been involved with, you've always elevated in that particular role. Now that you're working with young people at this particular level, your background is sports, but then now it's the thinking game when it comes to behavior and stuff like that. What do you recognize? What do you try to recognize when a young person is probably going through something when it comes to mental health, and how are you able to be there to assist them?
I think listened to earlier with the Railers players, it's very similar. Being as an assistant principal now, as you see, I see it seeing it in a different light. Being a coach and being an assistant principal is very similar. You deal with, as a coach, you deal with athletes and dealing with some issues they may have at home or in school. And as administrator, I can, support them and advocate them in different ways as, I would as a coach. And I can actually, my reach is now even further.
Mm-hmm. And Kiara Rivera, as a student at UPCS, what's your experience basically when it comes to, when someone says mental health? What does that mean for you?
It means like the struggles one is going through, and like the support and like help that comes around of the word mental health. Like it's not really talked about much. So when I hear it, it makes me just want to like talk about it more.
Speaking of talking about it, some of our young people may be going through something, and I think one of the hardest part is they know they're going through something, but they can't put a finger on it and find out exactly what it is, and they can't express themselves, and sometimes they may act out of character because they can't identify it. You may know some people who have done that. Tell us about that a little bit in reference to your experience, where you may see somebody, you know them behaving a certain way, and then all of a sudden you see them acting out of character. What's your experience has been with that, with some of your friends or some of your peers, or maybe a family member?
My experience is definitely trying to get them some help and support that they need. First by talking to them, seeing what routes we can go, seeing if maybe we can have open communication with the issue. If not, that is totally okay, but you just want to start taking step by step with moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now people may be going through what they're going through, Mr. Ojeda, and so now it's time for the school or administration to get into place and start implementing programs. How do you start a program, and where do you go with that particular program to address mental health, and especially when it comes to the students at a particular school?
Yeah, I think just what Kiara said is more of just listening, understanding what are those needs and what's going on with the students. So I know at UPCS, they've started a new advisory group with trusted adults that students can feel comfortable with speaking to. And at the same time, teachers are learning as well. Teachers are adults, they're parents, right? And they want to learn how they can reach their students, not just in the classroom, but holistically as well, right? You want to make sure that they're safe within school and out of school as well. So it's finding some more resources, which I believe the school department has done this past year. And, you know, we have a full-time therapist that can come in and help with students. And then we also have the school-based health center, which is across the street, where we've been able to connect more with some of the resources and services they have that our students will need going forward.
Mm-hmm. And going forward with that, as far as when it comes to UPCS, what is UPCS, University Park Campus School? Where is it located? What is the makeup of the school? And give us a little bit of background with students that attend that school.
So it's located on Freeland Street. It's been there about 20 plus years now. It started, I believe it started with just one class. And as the years have gone on, they increase in classes. The students have to live on certain streets in the neighborhood in order to attend the school. We are 7 through 12. The school is, to me, it's vibrant. There's a lot of kids there that really excel in high levels. And they actually, because of that, it pushes the teachers to excel as well and try to find ways to advance themselves, because the kids are always learning and always want to do better.
Yeah. Kiara, you're a student there at Rivera at the University Park Campus School. What are some of your studies there, and what are your aspirations?
So it's a great community. Right now I'm in a lot of advanced placement classes. Luckily our school has a great opportunity to be able to take classes at actually colleges with the early college program. So I'm involved with that, taking some college classes, and it's helping me push forward with my nursing career.
Yeah, do they still have that incentive program there that if you live in the neighborhood, you attend the school, and as you mentioned earlier, when they implemented this organization over 20 years ago, I remember that announcement, and they added each grade on it. I can recall the Secretary of Education coming in too as well, commending the school in reference to its mission and giving back to the community. So going forward, what's University Park Campus School, what's the future for that school and the present students who are making up our audience right now? What do you want to see? Because you're newly appointed there as well, Louis.
Yeah, being the new principal there, it's interesting. As you know, I coach Maine South basketball, and we're a co-op, so Maine University Park and Claremont Academy make up Maine South basketball. So I've been on the other side with Claremont, and coming over to UPC, you hear about all the great things that are going on and how kids have gone on and do very well. And I just want to be able to continue that, right? And be able to open them up to more things like this, where they get to come out and show the community, how great they are, what they're doing. And also to show how great the staff is there and the administrators there as well. They push us to be better, and at the same time we push them. So it's a fun, loving community where everybody feels home and feels like family. So that's something, me personally, who I am, that's what I'm about, and I want to continue doing that. Yeah, and I think that's exactly what you're doing. So Luis Ojeda, Assistant Principal at UPCS, is joining us on Unity in the Community as well. Kiara Rivera is a UPS student. Thank you for joining me on Unity in the Community, and I'm Ernie Floyd, and this is Unity in the Community on Unity 979, Worcester's Community Connection. We
We are here continuing our conversation about education right here on Unity in the Community. I'm Ernie Floyd on Unity 979. Worcester's Community Connection. Unity in the Community embraces the city of Worcester's diverse cultural communities, the music, the arts, and healthy lifestyles. And joining us now is Galen Hastings. She's the Director of College Access Program at UInc, as well as Ebenezer Esmery, and he's a student at UPCS. And welcome to Unity in the Community.
Yeah, thank you.
Galen, when it comes to mental health, okay, and it comes to students and it comes to your programs, and you've been there for a while, so what are some of the changes you've experienced and how you're able to address when those issues happen to come up?
Well, we've been fortunate to be under UInc, which is a mental health organization. We have the behavioral health clinic on Gold Star. So we've always had the whole student in mind, wraparound. So thinking about groups, thinking about self-care. As we've gone through the pandemic, we've done more with mindfulness. I actually went through yoga teacher training, so we infuse breathing and stretching into programming. We have floor talks in the summer to talk about identity and working through conflict and stress management. We also refer to counseling, and we encourage that as much as possible. We also make sure that the resources are available. So through Psychology Today, you could find therapists. There's EMH at UMass, the UMass campus. So a lot of good resources out there.
Yeah, and you mentioned a lot of resources, Galen, going back to UInc. This was what it was actually established on many years ago through Mo Bovier. Was it Mo or Bo?
Yeah, Mo.
Mo
Yeah.
Bovier. Yeah. And it's funny after these years later and how UInc was ahead of the curve too as well, of all the nature of your programming. Ebenezer Esmery, UPCF student, mental health, when they talk about it, what immediately comes to mind when that is mentioned in the room?
Mental health, well, from my culture, I'm from Ethiopia, and mental health is not really something that's well looked at, mostly in like most of those African countries. There's been a curve recently, but not comparable to, the United States. So comparing it to like my house and outside, yeah, mental health is shown in like my school and even in UInc. As she said, it's called like after our trip and over the summer, we would all come together and we'll talk about how our day went and all that. Not something I'll see usually at my home or something like that, which just, I don't know, amazing to me, Yeah.
Yeah, when you're going through those stresses and those strifes in the beginning of your stage of your life, and there's probably no one to talk to, you didn't even know how to address it. And some instances, when you're going through something, you don't know exactly what it is. Could you share with us potentially on maybe how ways potentially you may have acted out and when you was looking for something but wasn't sure what it was or how to ask and how to address it, and then tell us on how now that you've matured and you get a little older now, and thanks to UInc and there's other programs and services, you're able to address that issue.
Yeah. I was lucky to have a brother. And that's like who I usually talk to, and cousin Marcos. And like it's like those certain relationships that I did have that I was able to talk to. And even through UInc, I've met many like admins and many staff that are like people that I still talk to now through text or whatnot, and that I feel like if I'm going through a rough time, I could talk to. But, well, yeah, like 7th and 8th grade, I was someone that would rage out and get mad easily. But I believe while I grow, things have changed.
Yeah, you can just tell on his voice, too, that he has matured, huh? Galen, always coming through. Congratulations, Ebenezer, for you for doing that. Galen, when the kids are coming through your program, you've met a lot of kids through your program, and not every student or youth are the same, okay? And you have to address you can't paint them with a broad brush, as they would say, right? And so you come in, you have to diagnose and see who's who and what's what. And not only addressing the issue, but at the same time, you must be training them so they understand the techniques, because you're not going to be with them all the time. So you must be training them and showing them how to go about it so that when they're on their own and these different episodes, as they say, come up, they're able to address it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Whether it be, we talk about music, walking, getting fresh air, breathing. Sometimes you're in moments, taking a high stakes test, so just being able to look away from whatever might be the stressor for a minute and take some deep breaths. But yeah, we talk about techniques that we hope that are transferable and generalized to future experiences.
Yeah, you listen to Unity in the Community on Unity 979. I'm Ernie Floyd, and this is the education portion of our mental health program right here on Unity 979. And Galen Hastings, Director of College Access Program of UInc, as well as Ebenezer Esmery from UPS. He's a student that's there. You've been there for a number of years, Ebenezer.
Yeah,
And
since
so Since what?
Since 7th grade.
7th grade now. And what grade are you in now?
Junior.
You're a junior now, and this is one of the most pivotal times in your life right now. I know that I must say that. You don't wait till you're senior year to make that preparation, because pretty soon you're out the door. What are you doing right now to prepare to get out the door as you come into your last year and as you get ready for the next stage of your life?
Yeah, actually, being the first generation of my family and going to college, well, I hope
you will.
I will. Yeah, and just usually looking at like people like my sister and whatnot, who I can see that they went through stress and all that, planning to go to college and like not knowing what steps they should take. But I think having programs like UInc and even UPCS itself, we have amazing counselors that help me out and see programs that are fit to be in the next step of where I want to take, and I want to get into politics and all that, you know. So seeing what to do and how to do it, seeing how different my situation is compared to, even though we're the same generation of people going to college,
and this is where our leaders are developed, right? Through experience. They see the whole thing and get a different perspective, and they grow and they mature. Before you know it, they're out here leading the Maine South and going on to the rest of the country, you know. So Ebenezer Esmer, UPS student, thank you for joining me on Unity in the Community, as well as Galen Hastings. She's the Director of College Access Program at UInc, and I also like to thank Luis Ojeda. He's a assistant principal at UPCS as well as Ms. Rivera, Kiara Rivera, who is joining me as well in the segment. We're talking education, we're talking mental health, right here on Unity in the Community, on Unity 979, Worcester's Community Connection. And welcome back to Unity in the Community. I'm Ernie Florida, Unity 979, Worcester's Community Connection. Unity in the Community show embraces the city of Worcester's diverse cultural communities, the music, and the arts. And joining us is Sheila King-Goodwin. She's the Senior Vice President, Chief Community Banking Officer of Fidelity Bank, as well as Sharice Murphy, Executive Director of the Shine Initiative. And we're having a discussion about mental health right here in the city of Worcester. And so I'm going to start with you, Sharif. Going forward, could you give some remarks about the Shine Initiative going forward, which your organization, what you're trying to accomplish now that you're the newly appointed, congratulations, Executive Director. I'm speaking to it.
Yeah.
I know you're interim, but I'm speaking to it.
Yeah,
right?
thank you.
But you must have some big plans, because the previous Executive Director, any program, when you come into something, everyone has their own different philosophy, right? What is your philosophy, and what do you look to do to enhance the Shine Initiative mission?
Yeah, so thank you. I think what I want to make sure that I say is, even though I am different than previous executive directors of the Shine, the mission will remain regardless, you know, of who is leadership of the organization. And so our mission is to reduce that stigma in youth and mental health. In youth and young adults. And so what I really do want to go forward as a program is to make sure that our communication and our message is inclusive for all. And so we are housed in the Printers Building, which is a nice art building. And there's so many cool folks that are in that building, and there's some nonprofit people that are there as well. But I think one thing that I learned being in that building is just how diverse Worcester really, really is. And so I'd love to reach out to some of those communities of color, folks are different, have different abilities, and really make sure that they're getting our message the same. We're working on our website to make sure it can be translated to different languages. Our programming and our handouts that we do, we're making sure that that can be translated for different folks who read differently and who look differently. Like other people. But I really think the main goal is to continue the mission, but to just expand it and to make sure that every young person has a chance in the program.
Yeah. And you're the Executive Director, but you have, as you mentioned earlier, you have 5 other positions there?
Yes.
Do you know what they are?
Yes. Oh, I think you meant I had 5 other positions. We do all wear hats in nonprofits. So we have 2 program associates. We have one who just got hired to work with the Worcester Public School Initiative. She's bilingual, just graduated from Worcester State, which is fantastic. We have another program associate who's been there for about a year and a half or so. She's another graduate of Worcester State. There's a plug here, I'm just saying. Got some great people from Worcester State. And then we do have Jessica Zakara, who is the Director of Marketing and Community Engagement. And so she has been with Shine Initiative for a little over 7 years. And so she's the longest person at our organization who has been there. We do have an admin who helps a lot with the behind the scenes. And then there's myself. We are currently hiring for a program director as well. And so that is out there, and we're starting those interviews to hopefully get someone in that seat. Yeah, you mentioned the 2 graduates from Worcester State in their program. Associates, what do you look for them to do when they go into the community, and how much can they cover inside central Massachusetts? Yeah, so I know I mentioned before we're in about 40 to 45 schools with the hope of next year being over 60. I do want to be clear that we're not in the schools every day. We're not clinicians or therapists, and so we're really just community educators. And so once we get a school on their feet and they feel comfortable being able to run their Mind Matters teams by themselves, then we can kind of take a step back and just only be there if they need us. And so it makes it nice to have a small staff because we really don't need one for each school. If I were to give a number or caseload, I would say each person has about 20 or so schools on their list to cover.
So you go in and you plant seeds, basically, and you plant your mission, and then you teach that organization how to sustain themselves, and they then come back to you if they need assistance.
Right. And we're always there. And I think that's what's unique about Shine, is that not only are we community educators and we hopefully make the conversation easy to have around mental health, but we don't leave. And so if you don't see us in your building, know that you can always reach us. We're not that far away. Online, everyone has our email addresses, or on social media. Please share us, all young people.
Yeah. Sheila King-Goodwin, Chief Community Banking Officer. You just don't stop at the financial part, but you also got your sleeves rolled up too. You get out there with the Shine Initiative. What is Fidelity Bank role going forward in the future? If there's been some discussion like, okay, we've been at this for a number of different years, what's it going to look like going forward?
We will continue to be an advocate for Shine. That really is, it has been at the core of what our passion is. And at the bank, we talk about our life design approach to banking. It really is our life design approach for our colleagues, our clients, and our community. And Shine will always be a key part of that. We have people from our board, people from our bank that are on the board. Our CEO has a passion for Shine. He started it back in 2004. That will not stop. And like we said, we really wanted to affect change in young people. The stigma around it was something that we thought we could make a difference. So that will continue in the future for sure.
Yeah, I know so we're talking about mental health in a sense, in reference to how it's affecting our young people and every member of the family. But one of the things I want to talk about with Fidelity Bank is how we didn't share your program when it comes to financial literacy. How are you rolling that out in the community?
We plan to work with you to roll that out in the community and work with other local organizations, because one of the things we realize is many of us don't have the basics, the budgeting basics, the importance of credit. I know for many people, many young people, you don't understand how important credit is until it's bad credit. And so it is our mission to make sure that we're getting all of this information, giving you guys the tools and resources that you need to be successful financially, because understanding credit, understanding how to invest, understanding how to operate a banking account, all of those pieces you don't always get in school. You get other core curriculums in school, but some of those pieces you don't receive. So that's something that we have as a part of our mission, to make sure that we're educating our community and helping you guys be more economically sustainable. Because I know for me, going into college, I had a ton of credit cards. I always tell people that, you sign up, hey, do you want a free credit card? And then when you look up, you're in a lot of debt. So we teach students how not to do that. And so you will see us in your community. So make sure that you take part.
Yeah, and especially before we go, the health crisis really should have taught us something, okay? Because a lot of us was relying on the government rolling out a check for every member of the family of $300, but by the time they rolled it out 6 months later, that was already spent 10 times over again. And so it's really important for our young people, especially in our audience. We have University Park Campus School that's joining us right here in our audience. We also have WUTY that's joining us. And I really want to emphasize the financial literacy, the importance of it, because you want to be in a situation where you're not relying on something, especially when a crisis hits, that you want to be sustainable. And that's why I wanted to roll out that question to you in reference to financial literacy. The importance our young people should be able to put themselves in a position so in case we do have a crisis, and the bank and the president of the United States says, okay, we're going to give out a check to everybody, that's not going to mean anything except because it's going to be spent all over again, and we're not going to rely on that. So thank you for your services in the community like that. So this is Unity in the Community. I'm Ernie Floyd. You listen to 979 Worcester's Community Connection. Joining us is Sheila King-Goodwin. She's the Senior Vice President and Chief Community Banking Officer, as well as Therese Murphy, Executive Director of the Shine Initiative. And we also have our University Park Campus School audience here, as well as you, Inc. And we have a surprise. You cannot come on Unity in the Community with Ernie Floyd without having a surprise. Okay, so who wants to, we're going to unveil the first surprise, which is Sharice Murphy, Executive Director, Shine Initiative, you have something to announce?
Yeah, I do. So we've had a partnership with the Railers and Fidelity Bank for many years, and they do a game for us that's beneficiary. There is an auction for jerseys, hockey jerseys, and people are able to donate, and the money comes right back to Shine. And Fidelity Bank has a teddy bear toss where at the first time they score their goals, everyone throws their teddy bears that they bring to on the ice, and those are donated to local families and young people. And so on December 9th, at 7:05, that's when the puck drop is, we are having our game, and we would just like to offer tickets to all of you young people here today to be able to attend the game. And so you'll be able to enjoy a hockey game and see me again if you want to come see me and some of the other staff at Shine.
And if you don't happen to be there for whatever reason, other people don't have an opportunity to go, there's other events and other activities that go out throughout the course of the year as well, like that. So I just wanted to mention it as well. So now, speaking of money, Sheila King-Goodwin, Senior Vice President, Chief Community Banking Officer. Who likes money? You guys like money?
Yeah,
all
okay. Right.
All right then. So they like money.
I've got an announcement for you.
You got their number?
I've got money. I've got money. So money.
What do you got?
I've got a great announcement from Fidelity Bank because we talked about financial literacy. So if you do not have an account or a relationship with another organization, Fidelity Bank is offering for anyone in our studio audience $50 towards a checking account, towards your first checking account with the bank. We're very excited. Like I said, we want to make sure that you guys are getting off to a great start. If you're interested in opening up an account, come see Jean or Adrian. Adrian's a UPC alum. Jean is our manager. They'll take great care of you, and we're going to be giving you $50 towards your first account. So we hope that it's your first start, and make sure you sign up so we know who you are. Bring your parents. We are just happy to have you. We're so happy that we're partnering with Unity in the community and with Shine and the Worcester Railers. This is not going to be our last. Our Front Street location it's a beautiful location, but we want to bring more community members here. So we're going to be doing this more often. Today we're talking about mental health. Next time we'll be talking about financial education. So it's just going to be the first of many opportunities to really get engaged.
Yeah, we'd like for you guys to come back. We want to follow up on them and see how the investment has grown.
That's
like that,
right.
From $50 to $1,000 maybe. You never know.
Hey, that's right.
You know?
That's right.
And
That's
also
right.
in that plan too is you're going to have the opportunity to share with them. Some of them want to start their first savings as far as toward their education, learn how they can go out there and get that as well. There's plenty of scholarships that are out there that these young people do not have to go out and work multiple jobs and try to scratch up money to try to go to get an education these days. There's multiple
It doesn't stop here.
opportunities that are out there.
Absolutely.
Well, Sheila King-Goodwin, Senior Vice President and Chief Community Banking Officer at Fidelity Bank, thank you for joining me on Unity in the Community, as well as Sharice Murphy, Executive Director of Shine Initiative. It was a great conversation, and so we're going to come back at this again in the future. So stay with us. You've been listening to Unity Community. I'm Ernie Floyd on Unity 979, Worcester's Community Connection. Thank you for joining us on Unity in the Community. I'm Ernie Floyd on Unity 979, Worcester's Community Connection. The Unity in the Community show embraces the city versus diverse cultural communities, the music, the arts, and healthy lifestyles. Our topic was about mental health, and I'd like to join our partners in our discussion, the Worcester Railers, UINC, UPCS, the Shine Initiative, and of course, Fidelity Bank. Thank you once again for joining us on Unity in the Community on Unity 979, Worcester's Community Connection.